Last week we spoke to real-life people about what Portland, Oregon, and Vancouver, Washington are like, but this week we're gonna ask AI what Portland is like. And I wish I'd predicted this. Portland, a good place to catcall women on the side of the road. And we're gonna review it with an actual real estate broker to see if any of it really lines up with what Portland, Oregon is really like. So if you're thinking of moving to the Portland area or any of its suburbs, this is gonna be a great video to watch to get some local expertise while also seeing what AI has to say about our area. If you're new here, I'm Tim Jackson. I'm a real estate agent in Oregon and Washington. I make videos like this all the time to show you what living in Oregon, Washington, all the suburbs in the Portland area is like. Last week, we actually did a video on walking downtown Portland. So this week, we're going to AI to ask what is Portland really like. So we're gonna input some questions. I'm gonna give some feedback on if it's really what like is going on, because obviously you go to a computer, you can get all sorts of information. And I think people are relying on AI so much right now that maybe I can help give some disinformation, but also help give you an idea of what general information out there is correct. So just starting with the basic question of, is Portland, Oregon safe? We're asking some basic questions that maybe everybody asks when they're moving to our area. You can see, like, if somebody was to type in on Google, is Portland, Oregon safe? It's one of the first questions that pops up. So we're just gonna ask ChatGPT here whether or not our area is safe. And it looks like, based on what they're saying, in 2024, the city saw a decline in violent crimes, including a 23% decrease in homicides during the first half of the year compared to the same period in 2023. Despite this improvement, violent crimes rates remain at historic highs. Property crimes are really high. That's definitely highly spoken of. For visitors, Portland's generally considered safe, especially in popular tourist areas. Just down at the Cherry Blossoms last week, it can confirm that everybody was walking around having a good time. You really got to go to specific city pockets to feel unsafe. Now, smash and grab, things that are associated with kind of the drug issues do tend to be issues that you see as reoccurring. And it's also noticing a dysentery outbreak that happened in early 2025. Now, this is not something that just spread throughout the city. It was relatively contained to the homeless population, but I think it is one of the reasons that you're seeing Portland get better, because if Portland stakes itself on progressive ideals, being a green city and being a city that cares for everybody, then definitely just letting a homeless population dwindle away due to dysentery and being passive about it is not the right solution. And you could argue that some of the reasons Portland is where it is now is due to passive things that happened. And so yeah, I would say from personal experience, 2021 was the worst year in Portland. It has slowly gotten better. However, you definitely see people moving out to places like Clackamas County, just south, to Washington County to the west, and then to Clark County up in Vancouver. Let's see if I can make AI just give a yes or no. Just answer yes or no if it's safe. No. Well, there you have it. Okay, what about the suburbs? So maybe that's where you hear Portland's not safe. Yes, generally the suburbs around Portland, like Beaverton, Lake Oswego, Tigard, and Westland, are considered safe. Okay, you can expand a little bit more. What are the safest? Lake Oswego, Westland, we're gonna see Camas in there. Well, Sherwood, Beaverton, Tualatin. We are including Vancouver. Man, my spelling is all over the place. Inducing Vancouver. We're inducing Vancouver. We're including Valida, Fisher's Landing, Camas, Cascade Park. Yeah, and I'll show you on a map where each of these areas are, but you got Lake Oswego, Westland, those are considered like the two best places to move to in all of Oregon. If you're moving down here, best schools, definitely comes with the highest home prices. Sherwood is very small, sleepy town. People love it there. If you're visiting Sherwood and you want to check out a good coffee shop, Symposium Coffee Shop down there. Beaverton's definitely more of the tucked away suburban sprawl, so people that are moving from California and like the California suburbs are really gonna like Beaverton. And Tualatin, Beaverton, and Sherwood are all kind of on that west pocket all in Washington County. I'm gonna add Wilsonville, even though it's kind of an outlier down on the I-5. Wilsonville's another great area. Now we asked AI to give us the safest Vancouver neighborhoods: Philida, Fisher's Landing, Camas, and Cascade Park. These always come up as the most safest and the best schools on top of that. So when people are looking at the top of the neighborhoods, they're always looking at all of those options that we just named. And it even says less safe areas, Central Vancouver and Fourth Plain Corridor, have a pretty high reputation. 100% true. So now we're gonna ask, okay, let's just say that you're looking in Vancouver or Portland, and I'm gonna predict what the AI will say, just because I can probably guess. We're gonna ask the AI to give us some more affordable but safe neighborhoods, places that might not be the best of the best, where you're paying the best prices, but you're getting a nice mix. You know, there's pockets in Beaverton that are definitely affordable. So it's safe from reliable places. Hazel Dell, and I wish I'd predicted this, because that was gonna be my first one. Said I was gonna predict it, and Hazel Dell is always, people say, Hazel Dell's a little bit sketchy. If you're south, Hazel Dell, just above 500, is one of the best places. We're gonna guess the next four. I'm gonna play a little bit of a guessing game with the AI. I definitely think Milwaukee's gonna be on there, because that's where I live. I think they might include Happy Valley, maybe Clackamas. Gresham could definitely, Southwest Gresham could make an appearance, even though Rockwood and most of Gresham is not known for being safe or affordable. Hillsborough is probably gonna make an appearance. They'll probably include another Vancouver suburb, probably Ridgefield. And let's just throw one more in there, since I think we're at our limit here. They probably won't include any Portland suburbs, like specific neighborhoods. It says within Portland Metro though, so we're gonna go southwest Portland. Milwaukee's there. That's where we moved, and we found a nice little spot. We're actually gonna head over to Milwaukee, a Milwaukee listing that just went live today, and show you what your money can get you here. East Vancouver into Orchards and Sunnyside. That's actually where I just had a client close on a home today. They were a YouTube viewer, and they bought a lovely $525,000, 2,000 square foot new construction home. And that was just in a nice, lovely little tucked away part of Orchards. You can find a lot of good, safe, tucked away neighborhoods up there. It's kind of in the northeast corner of Vancouver. As you go up 500, Orchards opens up. I can show you on a map right here. Now, Aloha, near Beaverton. Okay, so I said Hillsborough, but Aloha is in between Beaverton and Hillsborough, and it's kind of jammed in the middle of it. It says Cooper Mountain, which is not what I would come across as affordable. Cooper Mountain's definitely on the pricier end of things. So close to Intel, Nike. Aloha's, I guess, a cheaper alternative to Beaverton, depending on where you're looking. I would say Hillsborough is your more affordable option. St. John's, North Portland. Okay, so I said Southwest Portland, but St. John's is actually a very popular kind of sister part of Portland, in that you got the Southwest Portland, you got Multnomah Village, and actually St. John's, near the St. John's Bridge. You got a nice little pocket up in North Portland where University of Portland is. So I'm not surprised to see that. I didn't predict them all, but I was right in that ballpark. Okay, so we're now outside because it's a beautiful day, and we're gonna continue chatting with ChatGPT here. But let's keep it real. We don't want to be cooped up in the office when it's such a pleasant day here in Portland. We're gonna get going and ask it some more questions and just see what it has to say. And what's another good thing to ask AI? Because AI is going to give us a mix of opinions here. Let's just ask, is Portland a good place to move to right now? AI is going to say you got to weigh factors. That's exactly what I would be saying. It's going over crime rates, housing market, quality of life, conclusion. Well, let's read it really quickly, but my take is going to be probably a little bit different. I don't know, it's saying that the market is influenced by factors such as mortgage interest rates. That's kind of true, but that wouldn't explain why housing in one city in the United States is tanking while other cities are taking off. We're definitely in a much more leaning towards the seller's market coming out of a cold period, and I can get into that right after we read what the AI is saying. Yeah, violent crime rates remain high, but they're not. That's compared to historic averages for the entire city. 59% of Portland area residents felt the quality of life was declining. That's Portland area residents, though, and that's probably not talking about the suburbs. The city itself continues to see a struggle, but it's getting better. You definitely see a lot more people pushing out towards the suburbs right now. Portland offers vibrant cultural scene, access to nature, beauty, progressive community. Yeah, so Portland has been at a little bit of that struggle of really expensive and yet at the same time having some struggles. That's why Portland was in the crosshairs for a long time. You definitely see the quality of life getting better. You don't necessarily see the affordability getting better, and that's because you have a tight housing supply. Doesn't really have a whole lot to do with interest rates. Interest rates are just one small piece of the wheel. And if you watch my video on the reverse Portland housing crash, you'll understand all the market dynamics that make housing prices the way they are in our area. So I'm actually gonna ask about quality of life. So I'm asking if it is talking about just Multnomah County or Portland proper when it said the quality of life aspect. Yeah. That's the hard thing about AI is it's never going to really be able to distinguish and give nuance. And it's also a reason that because AI is so similar to news, they just kind of pop out the most easy to read and easy to digest information. You might have read that Portland sucks, but a lot of the suburbs are great. I mean, I'm sitting in my backyard on a sunny afternoon. Kids are playing out in the yard. Life couldn't be better. So we're going to ask a question that was asked in the Riverfront last week, but
is the news about Portland being a hellhole overblown?
We're gonna see what AI says. Will it say yes or no? And it's giving me two options, Portland is a hellhole is definitely overblown, but it's not totally made up either. Here's a real talk with nuance. Downtown Portland and parts of the inner east side saw noticeable decline, protest and unrest. Man, there's two different things. I'm not sure which one to go with. It seems like they're both kind of going down the same thing, but the bigger picture, most neighborhoods are still beautiful, livable. That's totally true, depending on where you go. Selwood, Mount Tabor, Alberta, Multnomah Village, those are all excellent places. There's still the art, there's still the nature, there's still the food, there's still the community spirit. So there's challenges. On this side, it's what's the truth. The core of downtown, man, there was a bird that just landed right there. The core of downtown has definitely still got some challenges. There's still some commercial property that's seeing a high turnover. That Ritz that they just built downtown with all the condos, I'd heard at one point there was an 83%. Well, AI doesn't know the vacancy rate of the Ritz-Carlton. I'd heard quite a few of them were failing to sell, having a hard time sitting for a while. 132 days on market's not a long time for a condo downtown, and some people are still wanting that big city, New York, San Francisco, the big city high-rise living. And it's kind of become a thing of the past where people really, that livability and desire to be downtown. It's kind of making a small comeback, but it's having a really hard restart. Everywhere else is taking off. Now, what's the highest move to suburb, or where are most people moving that are coming in? I'm gonna guess it's gonna say Vancouver, but let's take a look. Where do most people, that's as a percentage of population growth though, include all suburbs. I'm gonna guess that it's gonna say Vancouver, Washington. Well, it's just giving me a list. Man, that's not what I wanted. Well, yeah, I mean, it's naming the usual suspects.
No, what is the one area that people move to most based on statistics?
I even spelled statistics right. Clark County, Washington, thank you. Which includes Vancouver is the area that most people moving to Portland, Oregon from out of state tend to relocate to. Between 2011 and 2015, Clark County was the top origin for out-of-state movers to Multnomah County. Most out-of-state movers to Vancouver are coming from Portland. That's not a surprise. That's what that's saying. But second on that list is King County in Seattle, Los Angeles, Maricopa County, Phoenix area, which is where I just had some clients close from today, and San Francisco County. Is San Francisco County a county? I just found out I had a couple call from Casablanca or Calabasas. Calabasas is a suburb in LA. They said we're tired of living next to the Kardashians and we want to move to a cool hip area, and we chose Portland. And I said, cool. We definitely don't have Hogarth, Humphrey, Casablanca, and Bieber, Kardashian people up in our neck of the woods. We got Napoleon Dynamite. Well, so this is a question that people ask. Is it a good time to buy a home? Should I rent? This is the cold hard truth. This isn't a realtor telling you. This is what AI is going to tell you. It's not even there. Includes careful consideration of current market conditions. Home prices, about $510,000. That sounds about right. I'd say they're closer to $550,000. They're sitting for 36 days. People are snapping them up like hotcakes if they're priced right. We're going to show you a home after we're done chatting with AI here. Mortgage rates between 6 and 7. Yeah, I mean, with the tariffs, they're coming down below 6. The rental market, approximately $1,750. I haven't heard that number for a while. I don't know where the heck it's pulling that out of its butt. I'm going to ask AI if they would use me. Positive reviews. Yeah, all 5-star. Huh. It knows a lot about me. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to move to Portland or Vancouver and you're considering them as options, I do Zoom consultations, phone calls. I get coffee all the time. Reach down right here. Would love to chat. We're going to get going to my most recent listing in Milwaukee that actually just dropped today. I'm going to show you something that's not AI. It's real and you can touch it. Oh, and that whole thing with AI, man, AI and technology, I think it's made things more convenient. I also think more than ever, we need local, hyper-local experts in the field of what is something really like, and not just judging things off of the first general glance you get of a place, but actually knowing somebody that's lived and known the area. Speaking of which, I've lived in Vancouver, I've lived in Portland proper during the worst of it, and now I live in Milwaukee. I put my money where my mouth is. I really personally like Milwaukee for, you can see the historic homes off to the left here, but historic homes. Here's a hot lady I'm gonna catcall. Is this appropriate to catcall women on the side of the road? Hey, can I catcall you? She said I can. That's my beautiful wife walking the trolley trail. I don't catcall women unless they're my wife. I only have one of, so it's pretty unusual that you can just catcall people. No catcalling allowed, guys. But it's a beautiful spring day here in Portland. We're also dropping off some great material for this home. I help people sell homes in our area. I help them buy in the area. I would say that most people watching my YouTube are relocating from out of state. And so from a buyer's perspective, moving into a place that you've never been before, do what I'm doing right now, which is drive the area, go to the different coffee shops, bars, walk the trails like you saw my wife doing. We actually walked that trail when we put an offer in on our current home. I just kind of thought about it. We talked with the neighbors. When it comes to buying a home, you always want to be a little bit slower than just rushing in and asking AI, hey, should I buy this home? You know, AI is great for general information, but consulting with somebody like myself and saying, hey, we're making a careful decision to move here, have a consultation. I actually, and this is maybe what a lot of realtors might not say, is you should, if you're not from Portland and you really don't know it, it's not a bad idea to get an Airbnb or a rental for a little bit and really get to know. Like, you can do month-to-month rentals, you can do furnished finders. We'll get a fully furnished place. I know it sucks to move twice, but it sucks more to move twice and buying both of those places, if that makes sense. Like, you really only want to move once, and if you can do that, great. You know the area good enough, or like work dependent, like you have to, and you get a really good sense for the area quickly. There are ways to make it happen quickly, and if you're on an expedited timeline, I can definitely help on how do you do this on a very quick process. So that's the view as you pull into your private drive. But I just wanted to finish that thought really quickly. You would rather move twice by moving once into the Airbnb or the short-term rental than your second move is into the place where you've really picked and narrowed it down to the right neighborhood. There's ways to do that. And I consult with people. Last week I consulted with somebody from Houston, somebody from Los Angeles, somebody from Seattle, somebody just called today or yesterday from Bellevue. So there's people all over. This is my buddy's house, is the neighbor, and this is the newest listing in, look at those oaks backing it. This is the newest listing. Let's go and take a tour inside. Yeah, but you can have AI in your technology, but this is real. This is a 1999, 2,600 square foot home that can be yours. Milwaukee's such a safe area, and you're so close to a lot of different things like the Oregon City waterfront about to pop off. Really safe neighborhood, beautiful gas fireplace. There are some people in the local area that watch this video, but what you should know about me is that I work on both sides of the arena. So while I got this home ready to go, listed for sale, I mean, you should see this place before we got it on the market. It had a lot of work needed. So I'm a problem solver. You can input and type a problem into ChatGPT, and it might help you solve it to a certain degree. But the thing that distinguishes me from AI, or really me from other real estate agents that you might come across, is that I like to solve problems. And I work both sides of the aisle. I help people sell homes and I help people get into them. It helps me see the psychological sides of what a seller wants and what a buyer wants, and brings it together to a mutual agreement when you're looking for a home. So you're trying to get a home on the best terms possible for you as the buyer. It really helps me to understand what the seller might be thinking to best negotiate against them for you. As you can see on this listing, I had to take it from A to Z and figure out all the different issues that this problem faced. It had color issues, it was a vacant 90s home that needed some staging. We really needed to get it cleaned up and ready to go, and boy, did the seller put in tons of time and really pack a punch for this place. We're pricing it at a really good spot for the market, given that typically homes of this size are listed at a higher price point, where our strategy is going to really get my seller a lot of attention and a lot of people through in the first weekend. Staging is just a great way to dial up a listing and make it look presentable and livable, so that way when you're touring the home you can actually feel like you're living in it. And it creates a way for buyers to spend a little bit more time checking the home out. If you're considering making a move to Milwaukee, our suburb here, Portland, up in Vancouver, where I just had a client move from Scottsdale and close on their brand new home today, then reach down right here. I'd love to help you. You know, whether it's strategizing and being 6 to 12 months out, or if you need that immediate quick punch, you need to in on a home, I can help sit down and go over what you're looking for. A Zoom call, a phone call, a text message, whatever it is that you need to strategize. I'm gonna do a little bit more than AI, do a little bit more than just open up a door for you or answer some easy questions. I'm here to answer some hard questions. I had a viewer just like you ask me if his kids who are of Indian descent, if they would fit in particular schools in Vancouver. Now that's not a question that, you know, the AI chatbot's necessarily going to easily answer, but I had a very thorough and diligent question where I called up school counselor who's from Korea up there and asked his experience, and also just know those areas well enough that I suggested he stay away from certain pockets, but focused in on really great neighborhoods like Hazeldale. Thanks for watching today's video. Watch this video next, and I'll see you next week.